Well
Okay,
done.
Josef, go ahead, please.
Hey, so welcome everybody. As you can see, I'm not at my office today because I completely messed up my scheduling, which means I'm at home on my couch and the kids are around. Be prepared for fun. So let me find a share here. I want to share, please. I want to replace and I want to have one window. Yes, go ahead. Okay, hopefully you can see my my terminal now. Can
Yes,
somebody
we do.
confirm? Yes, Andrew confirms. Okay. So, I have some rough ideas of what I want to do today. And for the sake of entertainment, I actually won't use a pre-built environment or whatever. I'm gonna use the exact same class machine as you are getting access to. So there's no magic or gremlins or whatever that I can invoke to trick myself out of this. For those of you who already have access, feel free to tinker along, but it's really not necessary because things will happen. For those of you who don't know me yet, my name is Joseph. I am the Yocto project community manager. And when I'm not doing community and live coding things, I work as head of developer relations for Mender, which is an over-the-air update solution. We are also very active in the Yocto space, which makes for a nice intersection of me to be active in. And yeah, if somebody ever wants to talk about Mender, you know where to find me. It's not exactly a secret. Okay, so let's get started. Let's try to break some things. Okay, first, let's create a directory which we work in and get the clone of Poky. I mean, we usually start out somewhere, right? Get Poky. Okay. Oh, that uplink is faster than my personal one. That's cool. Okay, I did one modification to the server. I installed Tmux just because screen was already there and my muscle memory after several years is completely focused on Control B instead of Control A. I think you can also use screen or multiple terminals or whatever, but for the sake of being able to show you, I obviously need one terminal that I can move back and forth. Okay, and let's get a build, and that should be good enough for us. We are actually not going to really build anything today if it works the way I want to. We are just going to do random evaluations on metadata. And one of those is bit by get var image install. And we also have to pass a recipe for image. Minimal is the one which I usually use. This is just meant to make sure that the checkout and everything is actually working. For discussions or whatever, I'm on a laptop, but I'm trying to monitor both the Zoom chat and IRC at the same time. So does this work? Does this give me something? And if not, then I'll be sad in the first 3 minutes of my presentation, which is possible, but not exactly. You can see my whole screen. That's strange. Okay, I actually wanted to just share one. I just wanted to share that one. I mean, there was no secret on RC. Okay, and only shell now. Yeah, because it's bigger than for you. There was no secret in background or your own chats. Okay, now this works. So what did I actually just do now? I got myself a clone of Poky, and I used bit by get var, which means I use it to invoke a full parse of the metadata. Because if I start tinkering on layers or on recipes, and I want a bitbake run to be sure it actually works or to actually get data out of it, and without actually trying to build something, which takes a lot of time because completely cold caches and everything, I'm just going to use bitbake get var today. So what do I have in mind? Let's make a couple of layers. Bitbake layers, create layer. We call that one meta. No, not mate. Meta, that's a nice typo. Meat is also a nice typo. Meta. Okay. There we're going to do things that actually make sense, and we are going to do meta stupid. And in meta stupid, we're going to do things that are probably stupid. We add both to our build. And I guess technically we should now also be able to check example, because both recipes probably both layers will bring the example recipe with them. I find it a little bit weird that this is not refreshing. Usually I think there is something, but so be it. While that one is running, let's create a new shell. Let's go into meta. Okay. Let's make recipes. Okay. And in recipes, okay, we are going to copy over my usual blueprint. Poky, meta, recipes, core, images, core image minimal, and we're gonna call it core image. Okay. Now, evaluation. Okay, in example, there was no image installed. Okay, that makes sense. Let's just finish that. We now have got an image recipe that's called core image. Okay, and let's get rid of the two recipes example because we don't need them. We will have a hopefully nice error message right on the next run. Okay, so we now have two layers. One is empty and one contains our new image. And in order to test that, again, for image, okay. Yeah, okay, that's exactly what I expected. There are no BB files in MetaStupid. Is it like this in your? Let's look at the source for this. If I create a layer, there's a layer layer.conf file which declares where my recipes or my metadata are is going to be located. And if you look at this, it's in the layers directory or in the layer directory itself, followed by recipes dash whatever, a glob, then another glob in between, and just below that, there should be files that are called bb or bb append. So this is a not super common, but an error that happens time and again. You create a layer, you do meta my layer, have a directory in it that's called recipes my recipe, and you drop your recipe in there. And then you wonder why it's not found at all. The reason is this. There is another layer of directories expected there. And by expected, I mean it is mandatory to have it there, because BitBake will not find a recipe that is on this level. You can, of course, modify that, but this is the generic or canonical setup that BitBake expects. And why did I get an error now? Yeah, because this glob does not find anything anymore. I just removed the recipes example. I just see, due to not providing in a B Kirkstone in the git clone, yeah, because I'm just playing around with metadata. For me, it doesn't matter at all on which Poky or version we are running around. Okay, so let's break stuff. Because we are in meta stupid and we do stupid things. Encoder recipes. Stupid. Encoder lib stupid. And now let's be super evil. Let's create something that's called lib stupid bb append. I'll leave like half a minute for you to guess what will happen now, and then we'll try if that actually happens and if it matches what I expected. Okay, I'm gonna have a sip from my cup of tea. Anybody drop me a guess? And Grace asks if there's a general rule of thumb for naming recipe directories. I would say use whatever you can already find, and for the rest, use common sense. Because there's nothing that keeps you from naming your recipe directories recipe Grace or recipe Mender or recipe Stupid. I try to make clear what is in there, so expectations management, and the second is if it relates to an already existing recipe, like appending to glibc or whatever, then I would suggest to keep it in the same. Like recipe glibc is in recipes core, so your append is also should stick in to recipes core. It's not very common for to append to glibc, but uboot, for example, you always have appends for uboot, and I suggest to keep them in recipes BSP, because the original uboot is in BSP, and yeah. There's a couple of good guesses. Lib stupid not found. Close enough. And bb appends to existing BBB, which is not found, hence there is no BP. And if I want a fresh one, no, I actually didn't want one. You're close enough. But I'm just going to look at the image one more time, right? Haha. So you were both close, but it's not looking for lib stupid BB. It just says there is nothing that I can append to. So close enough, which is actually what I wanted to show you. Because now imagine, I mean, a purely hypothetical situation that there is an upstream layer, possibly by some vendor, which does things like that to append on something, and which breaks your build flow, therefore. But you actually are not interested in that package at all. You don't care. I mean, as the name already says, it's called libstupid, right? So we probably don't actually want libstupid in our build, but it's in the layer. I can't. In this case, I could get rid of it because I could delete it. But imagine it is upstream. You have to live with it. What could I do? Again, 20 seconds. Exclude from world. No. Ostruvka got it. Yes, blacklisting won't do the trick. Creating an empty BB, that means I clutter my build. Cool. This is the first time I ask a question and I got 5 answers, and one of them is actually correct. But I got it from 3 different people. That's awesome. Best interaction I've ever had doing live coding. So yes, the actually correct answer is BB mask. Why is that? Just blacklisting the recipe means it won't build, but it should be expected to parse still. So my build will still be broken. Creating an empty BB would technically do the trick, but still it's stupid because then I have got a dangling BB somewhere which I am responsible for, and I don't want to be responsible for it. There's no reason for it. And exclude, I think that's just the same as blacklisting. And the correct answer is to BB mask it out. So let's try to get this done. Conf local.conf G A, and let me find the syntax because I am stupid and lame. So BB mask plus equals recipes stupid lib stupid, and that hopefully should do the trick again. And if that not, then hopefully somebody will debug it with me. I think it's starting to rain here. And this actually seems to properly parse again. Dip, 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 dip. Yes. Okay. First thing that I wanted to show and tell did actually work, and I did not break anything in the process, which means it's time to celebrate, right? And for those of you who follow me on LinkedIn, you know that I had pasta for lunch because I posted a preparation pic today. So I spared some leftover white wine just for you to join me in this. So cheers. Okay, so but the other thing that I wanted to show is already has already been mentioned. So let's get another layer just for the sake of facilitating it. Git clone No, HTTPS com Raspberry Pi. Not because I love the recipe so much. It's just because there is it is a layer that is reasonably well maintained, and it provides a couple of distinctly named recipes, which is what I need for the next example. So let's add it to the build. Bitbake layers. No, wrong terminal. Right terminal. Bitbake layers. Add layer meta Raspberry Pi. And if we look at Raspberry Pi for 1 second, there's, for example, the Raspberry Pi recipes BSP. For example, what is interesting? Arm stops, no. Raspi prom, Raspi bootscom, boot files. Let's see what's in boot files. RP command line BB. That sounds like fun, right? RP command line. So let's go into our good layer now. Said meta okay-ish. To stick with what I just suggested to Grace, mkdir recipes BSP, mkdir boot files, and let's make Raspi command line BB append. Now let's check if that actually works. Bitbake layers show pans. I probably should have piped this through less. There are no, so for the guy who loves caps lock in Zoom, there are no slides. Live coding means I sit in front of my computer and I just do random things, and I have discussions, and I make things that work, and I make things that do not work. There will be a recording afterwards, but there are no slides because I have no idea what I will be talking about in the next 5 minutes. Sorry, that's just how my sessions work, and people, for whatever reason, keep inviting me to do that. Okay, so I really should have piped this through less. Less. Is there my boot files? Boot files. Also should have grabbed probably. Yes, I probably should grab. No, RP config was the name, right? Too bad. RP command line. No. In this. Yes. Thanks, Eric. Just what I explained earlier, the layer structure was off. So, yes, there it is. So now we technically have a layer that appends something in Meta Raspberry Pi. just for the sake of completeness, let's do this one again. But as my layer is okay, I think it is actually great. That means that people will probably want to use it in other cases that are not just the Raspberry Pi, right? So if you're building for RISC-V or x86 or whatever, then you don't have Meta Raspberry Pi along. So, and it is great. It should still work, right? And now we've got the same problem again, dangling append. But in this case, it is in my layer, and I am responsible to make a sensible choice how this can be maintained. 20 seconds for you again. Johan says I should keep the server timeout high. Is it in seconds or is it in minutes?
Seconds.
I talk so much and I type so slow, I should go higher. But let's try it. Let's try it.
That's a line in your template localconf.
Yeah, not in the template, but in local.conf. So let's try what happens. Numbers in seconds. Okay, so there's a couple of things going on at the moment. First one was the question, how do I organize my append, which I actually want to keep because the layer is so great, it needs to modify Raspberry Pi. And I see two local.conf. This was not actually meant for following. I just wanted to try the suggestion by Yuan, which is to set BB server timeout, which keeps bitbake in memory resident mode for 300 seconds now after running it, which means that following invocations should be faster. This is, I am learning also something during those sessions every time. But this is actually not what I wanted to talk about. Okay. Okay, so we've got 3 suggestions, which are actually 2 of them are wrong, and I don't understand the last one. Okay, so my thought would be Leitner in RC says _% but then again, yeah, okay, this is wrong because it will still expect the Meta Raspberry Pi layer to be there. Can layer depends help here? Let's try and find out, right? So what's the collection name in Raspberry Pi? It is Meta Raspberry Pi conf layers.conf, and the collection is just Raspberry Pi. Okay. And therefore, in meta, okay, we would set the conf layer.conf layer depends Raspberry Pi. This has an effect, but not the one that you think it has. So reparse. It has an effect, but I just get a different error message because it tells me now, hey, you need to have Meta Raspberry Pi, which is actually not what I want, because My layer is great. I want people to be able to use it with all machines, not only if the Raspberry Pi is involved. So, Eric, you actually got it right, but let me tackle the last one first. Ostrovka says, keep it into bblayers.conf. And I don't get what this relates to. Because the mission is, I have a layer, meta okay. There is an append in there, which relates to Meta Raspberry Pi. And I want this to stick around, but I don't want, or I want it to be able to also work if the Raspberry Pi is not around. So, order of layers, Oletna, no, definitely not correct, because it should work even if Meta Raspberry Pi is not around. That is the goal, and it has been mentioned already 2 times by now. It's about dynamic layers. So, what are dynamic layers? Dynamic layers means I have a substructure of my layers that that is only applied if another layer is actually present, or to be more precise, if another metadata collection is also present. Side note, Matthias Kollmann asks, would you keep this recipe specific stuff in a separate layer? It depends. So you can do that, possibly. It depends on what the modifications are. One of the best examples for this is Bruce's meta virtualization. Meta virtualization collects basically everything and the kitchen sink for containers virtualization and everything that comes with it. But if depending on the machine, you might need kernel modifications, and this is a very similar situation because you might want to, or you want to prepare a kernel config modification for the Raspberry Pi, for example, and you want to be easy to use if you're the maintainer of meta virtualization, and you don't want, but it's only one modification to the Raspberry Pi. You don't have like 25 recipes. So what does meta virtualization do? It also uses dynamic layers. And Kadir dynamic layers. And in dynamic layers, we create mkdir Raspberry Pi. And in Raspberry Pi, into it, we move our recipes, BSP here. So if we run it like this now, it will parse again. Hopefully. No, because I need to still revert the dependency. Where are we? Blah, 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 blah. Conf layer.conf. This one needs to go. Okay, right now. And now it works again. But now it would be always dysfunctional. And so what we need, so in order to make it kick in, if the Raspberry Pi layer is around, we want something like this. So in dynamic layers, okay. So it's very similar to the regex up there again, and it declares if the collection Raspberry Pi is around, then add this regex to the to BB files, and if this layer collection is also around. It's the same. It's just it replicates this. Then add this. I didn't type it. Jagger. Sorry. It was copy pasted because there's so many special characters in there. If I would have to type it, then I would take all of Yocto Project Summit, which is not a joke. I'm on a MacBook on my sofa, which is not a compatible typing situation. Okay. No. How can you tell that you've been using Vim too much? W's show up everywhere. Okay, so we should have this set now. We can run this and hopefully not have a problem. And if we search for our appends again, then it should not show up. Hopefully, if this parsing stops at some point in time in the future. Yeah, okay. That's what I expected. And grab Raspi command line. Nothing. And here comes the cool part. I do bitbake, layers, add layer, meta, Raspberry Pi. And I rerun. And if I didn't do anything stupid or more stupid than usual, then now our append will magically show up. For the sake of keeping this for the future, I don't have the impression that keeping bitbake memory resident did do us any good or bad. It just feels like the same, at least to me. Let me check the chat for a second. Yeah, okay, and here it is. See, it's magic. I add a layer and an append shows up. Awesome. So we've got 15 more minutes to break stuff. And I don't necessarily have a good idea what to do. So I'll take suggestions now. What stupid thing could we do in the layer stupid in order to fix it in meta okay? No ideas. Usually people ask me to try out stuff. Should we play a little bit with evaluation orders? Yes or no? Multiconfig. Whoa. I like the idea of multiconfig. Let's try multiconfig. I mean, there's a couple of really good presentations on evaluation already, and a couple of bad ones. The bad ones are by me. But yeah, let's see if we can make this somehow multi-config. Okay, so if I just look at or if I just evaluate core image okay. and I want to know tclibc. Then it tells me that libc is glibc. And let's try to set up a multi-config in meta okay, which sets this to muscle. Okay? Let's see where we end up. I don't have the syntax ready. I will Google on the side. So I think it's in conf. Multi-config. So example. Oh, I found an example by Joshua. That's cool. So okay, mkdir multi-config, and there's a tree in this call who's going by the name of Elad, and he makes noises in my headphones that sound like my children scratching at the door, which is slightly confusing. But it's very cool to talk to trees. I have to point this out. Okay, so let's make a multi-config, and it should set tclibc. So how should we call it? Okay, okay, go. tclibc equals muscle. Okay. That should actually be the part one of the trick. And in local.conf, I think we have to add it. Here it is. So multi-config, was it? Equals okay, go. Okay, Peter, let's check. Yep, I've got a typo. Perfect. Okay, go. So, and if I'm somewhat right in my thinking, then I should now be able to do this. Multi-config. Okay, go. Right? The next step would be inter-configuration dependencies, but we're not gonna do this now. No way. And there is a very interesting discussion by Michal and Yuan on how to find out where a recipe might actually come from. And yeah, it really depends. If it's a nice layer that provides the underlying one, then you can find it on the layer index. If the recipe, or if the layer that has the dependency is somewhat well behaved, then it uses layer depends and therefore gives you a hint. But as we already said, it's probably stupid and not well behaved. Another thing that I usually find very useful is looking at the setup scripts that vendors provide. So just recently, I've had some fun with a silicon vendor, and their layer configuration is just outright stupid. Okay, something is wrong here. I need to find out. And they have like 20 layers in there, and 5 or 6 of them have interdependencies or have a hierarchy. And they gave no indication what they actually need. So if you just look at the layers on GitHub, you have to guess. And what I usually do is I look at their official installation instructions or setup instructions. I run them once and then inspect bblayers.conf. Or I grab the resulting metadata. So if you have got a chance to replicate the original setting, then that is actually your best guess, if you ask me. Not in terms of actually using it, but in terms of being able to inspect it. Yep, MC. Let's see MC. I don't use this very often. Yeah, here it is. Yay, we built a multi-config. Very cool. What else can we do? What else can go in multilib? No, I'm not going to do multilib. Let's test something. How can we build all the packages for an image without building the actual rootfs? So theoretically, you can build the world, which by definition builds all the package for and including your image and not the image. I mean, it also builds a lot of other packages, but technically I answered your question correctly. I don't think there is a command that just creates the cache for a specific image. I mean, usually you would just build the image and then you have the cache. So I don't see the real use case, to be honest. I might not know about it, which is very possible, but usually you just build the image and then it obviously builds it. So what did I want to do? I wanted to no, let's do it like this. Image features debug weeks. Is Ross on this call at the moment? I wonder if this gives me the intended message. And the bash script with for loop and bitbake package name. No, I don't think that this will work. Because there's additional ways into image install. I'm just wondering if this gives me the intended error message. I want to have an error message. And it's always sad if I don't get the error message that I actually want. A question in the meantime, what are the differences between building a package as part of an image recipe and building it as part of an SDK? How do the sysroots? So I didn't get that error message, and that is particularly sad. Let me do the other modification then. How do they differ? So the sysroots are per recipe. So by definition, no sysroot is complete. I don't know if for an image there actually is a sysroot of bitbake. Randy says, wouldn't bitbake see compile core image full work? I don't think so. But yeah, Jan, probably something like package. But like I said, I don't get why anybody would want that without compiling the image. I mean, you can always throw the image away later. You could do you would just like bitbake core image minimal, and then you be like bitbake clean all core image minimal, which leaves you with everything but core image minimal, and you don't have to look at the dependency graph or any package yourself. You just build the goal or build the target, have it by dependency, and then throw it away again. Oletna says, build up a package manager repo. Yeah, but then why don't you then why don't you just build the image? Well, I guess I would not use images then as the trigger. If I have a concept of optional packages that I want to build, then why not create a package group? Create a package group, and that assembles all of your optional images, and then you bitbake the package group, which gives you all of the packages, right? I mean, I think the fundamental error is looking at the image. There's nothing wrong with building packages, but I think the image as the as a decision trigger or the decision anchor is the wrong one. You should have a separate way of specifying what you actually want, because then somebody changes the image and you get unexpected results. So that would be my take on it, or just bitbake world. Yeah, and for Grace's question, I actually don't know. It's a good question. Maybe somebody else knows. But my understanding is that the sysroots or the SDK are meant to be complete. In terms of providing the full sysroot that matches the image, and the sysroots that are created on the fly during the process, they are always specific to a certain task, and therefore they are not equivalent. But that's just guesswork at the moment. Okay. Randy says bitbag runall compile seems to work. That will give you the compilation stages, but I don't think it gives you the packages of the top level dependencies of the image. But I'm guessing. With that, I actually did my duty of hopefully entertaining you in this slot. Michael hopefully could figure out the remainder of non-working images. What I actually wanted to see in this is a fancy error message which tells me that debug tweaks is stupid and ugly and that I should not use it, because Ross actually added an error message to it, I think, but I couldn't seem to trigger it at the moment. Yeah, final remarks before I hand over. Let me check the schedule. It's Michael Optenacker. So one of my greatest pleasures is that I now have the pleasure or have the honor to introduce somebody who already was teaching embedded Linux when I started embedded Linux. So RP says I would have to trigger the image build. Oh, come on, that's boring. Okay, so like I said, I did stupid things and we created things, and we've had a good discussion on compiling images without building images, which is pretty cool. Like I said, welcome, Michael Optenacker. The stage is all yours for the dev tool, and I'll try to follow the chat.